very good evening, everyone who are with us in this webinar today. We wish everybody is safe and healthy during these trying times. My name is Naresh Paul, and I'm the Program Director at TCS Ion Direct Academy channel and your host for today's session. It is my pleasure to welcome each one of you to a very insightful webinar. India has 69% of its population between 16 to 30 years, but only 2% of total workforce in India has undergone any skill training. India has second highest population of working age individual in the world. This skill set of this population group plays a critical role in growth of the country. It is imperative that adequate skill training is provided to the age group to make them productive. Vocational education and skill development are significant to improve the productivity and efficacy of the workers, hence leads to expansion of national development, rapid growth, high productivity, and reduction of unemployment. Vocational and technical education are considered to be powerful tools for trained workforce required for the socio-economic development of the country. In this session, we have invited a distinguished expert to talk about the prospects and challenges, vocational education and training. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome and introduce our guest speaker, Professor Rajesh P Khambayat. Professor Rajesh is currently working as Joint Director at PSS Central Institute of Vocational Education, Bhopal. He was associated as Professor and Head Department of Educational and Research with the National Institute of Technical Research, Teachers Training and Research in Bhopal. He was formerly the Engaged Faculty Consultant for Colombo Plan Staff College for Technical Education appointed by the Governing Board of CPSC, an intergovernment international organization in Asia and the Pacific region based in Manila, Philippines. He served as the Joint Coordinator of Asia Pacific Accreditation and Certification and has been involved as an international specialist for skills, standards, and curriculum development for ICT and business. Dr. Rajesh has been involved in various programs and projects in the education sector. His strong expertise and background in technical and vocational education and training, technical teachers training, curriculum development, using informational and communication technology for education and training and quality management. He has worked with various government institutions and technical institutions in countries across Asia, Pacific, Europe, and Middle East. Dr. Rajesh was instrumental in conceptualizing, planning, designing, developing, and coordinating various regions in country, extra budgetary programs, and rendered consultancy services for UNESCO, Univoc, CPSG, GTZ, ADB, and the worldwide. A very warm welcome, Dr. Rajesh, sir.
Thank you.
Let's begin. Sir, my first question to you, for the benefit of our viewers, could you please tell us, ये vocational education क्या है, and what are the key roles which vocational education plays in education and the upliftment of the economy? Over to you, sir.
Thank you. First of all, thank you TCS for inviting me. It's really a pleasure to be a part of this today's discussion on a very important topic, that is vocational education and training. I'm also thankful to Naresh for giving such a generous introduction about me. Thank you so much. I agree with you, what you rightly said, that a country's development primarily depends upon the level and the number of skilled manpower which is available with the country. That I would call it as a human capital. Now let me begin. Skills are fundamental for employability, individuals' employability. Even the national competitiveness depends on the skills. If you look at all the developed countries in the world, not only in our region, but beyond the region, and if you look at the key factor in their economic growth and development, and you will find that there has always been a continuous emphasis on skill development, and particularly skilling their youth has always been found to be one of the common factor in all the developed countries and all that. Now, coming back to our vocational education, vocational education has many different connotation across the world. But to make it very simple for our audience, I would say basically vocational education is a vehicle for equipping our young students, our youth, who are going to be the future workforce for our country. So it's basically a vehicle. That way we can look at it. I also look at vocational education, which brings the world of education and world of work together. So basically, I feel that it acts as a bridge between the school and the world of work. So, and it also helps in the smooth transition from school to the work. Let me also add here, we are all aware that by 2024, India wants to reach 5 trillion economy. And I believe vocational education can create the foundation to realize this target. Because vocational education programs can help us in creating the workforce which will be really required to attain that level of economy. And that is only possible when we have the right kind of skilled people with us. And that's why vocational education is going to play a very significant role in our future development.
Thank you, sir, for setting this stage in. So my next question, sir, Digital India and then Make in India, and the current government has launched yet another new program called Skill India. So आप कुछ इस बारे में कुछ बताना चाहेंगे? What exactly the difference Digital India, Make in India, and now the called Skill India program?
Yeah. I think this is a very important dimension that you have raised. For a long time in India, we had many challenges and issues when it comes to the skill ecosystem. Like if I tell you, earlier the skilling what we were doing to the people was not helping the people to get the jobs. There were a lot of varying standards in assessment, including certification. Most of the curriculums were outdated and they were not market-driven courses. There was a weak linkage between the industries and the employers. Low quality of training, funding constraint, infrastructure was another problem, the demand-supply match, lack of scalability because India is a big country, and then most importantly, lack of trainers. There was no proper equal access to the people in the society, and limited mobility. This is another issue. Mobility was a concern between the skill and the higher education, and which is the most important is misalignment with the aspirations of the youth. So all these issues were bothering to our India's ecosystem for a long time. And in order to address all these issues, I'm very happy to tell you that our Honorable Prime Minister, Sir, Shri Narendra Modi ji, has launched a very inspiring and a very forward-looking mission that we call it as a Skill India mission. It is for the first time that we have a very well-thought mission that has been designed to strengthen the entire efforts of skill development in the country. It is the first time we are able to connect supply with the demand, supply for demand, and we are able to connect a pipeline of skilled manpower. We are able to catalyze the demand for skilled people. And interestingly, our new National Education Policy 2020 is also ensuring that we do the skilling with skill, with speed, with standard, with sustainability. These are all, going hand in hand. Today, we have a dedicated ministry, which is called as Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So you see, there are many things which has happened because of this Skill India mission. Some of the attributes, I think it will be interest to many of our audience will be that now first important thing is this mission is making skills aspirational. It is promoting convergence and coordination. Earlier, there were more than 20 ministries which were looking after skill development. But because of this mission, we are able to consolidate our effort, and convergence and coordination is happening. Now, our skills, what we are doing is with standards. Now, we are aiming for international standards. We are able to enhance and outreach with the speed. At the same time, we are able to leverage the latest technology which is available with India. So you will see that now India has totally, reimagined and envisioned the skill mission in a very different way. Earlier, our focus was, whenever we talk about skill, it is the responsibility of the government of India. But with this new mission, it is a shared responsibility. It is between public and private. So first major change Skill India has brought it has become a shared responsibility. Everything will be matching with the skill and demand supply. Most importantly, skilling has become an integral part of all the policies of Government of India, irrespective of the ministries. Every ministry, every department is now connected with Skill India mission. I think this is one of the major change that has brought this mission. Equal opportunity. So it is not only for the urban, but everybody, across the society will have this one. Social dialogue is there. Social partner involvement is there. It is always consultative, inclusive, and most importantly, it is not brought from outside. It is very much Indian model, Indian mission. That is how it has been envisaged. So it is based on locally grounded approach. And it is very dynamic. It is not static. So continuous research input will be going on, and accordingly, whatever changes are required, whatever interventions are required at a policy level, at program level, at implementation level, this all will be done so that it makes the meaningful impact, it makes meaningful purpose for which this mission has been visualized and thought about it.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for bringing this thought in that Skill India is very, very important. And now, not only the government, there are many public and private players which are just coming and taking responsibility to train India. So my next question comes and focuses on, and I would like to club this question. And Shashkant from Solapur is asking, the skilled workforce in India, if we compare this workforce from South Korea, which is 96%, and the Japan is 80%, Germany is 75%, and Britain is 70%. But once जब हम इंडिया की बात करते हैं sir, so it constitutes only 2% total of workforce. So in India, vocalization of education is not in line with industry. I mean, there is a huge gap, a big chasm. So मेरा आपसे जानने का प्रयास ये होगा कि हम इस गैप को कैसे भर सकते हैं ताकि हमारे जो यंगस्टर्स हैं वो आगे एम्प्लॉयबल हो सकें, उनको ज्यादा वेट ना करना पाए. Over to you, sir.
I think this is a very important concern. Every one of us, every Indian is having this concern कि हमारी 1.3 billion country है और उसमें केवल 2% वर्कफोर्स को फॉर्मल स्किलिंग या फॉर्मल वोकेशनल एजुकेशन मिला है. So how are we going to compare ourselves with the developed countries across the world? And this concern has very well been addressed under the Skill India mission. In order to attain these numbers, Ministry of Education under this Skill India mission committed that we will introduce vocationalization of the school education. Means we will introduce vocational courses along with the school education programs. So that is done under the Samagra Shiksha. I am very pleased to tell you that my institution, that is PSS Central Institute of Vocational Education, Bhopal, which is a constituent unit of NCERT, was assigned this responsibility of designing the programs of introducing vocational courses in the school education. Currently, we are working on 17 sectors of Indian economy. And you will be pleased to know that these all sectors have been very carefully identified. In a sense, these all sectors has a very high potential in terms of growth, as well as huge potential for having employment growth also. And that is how these 17 sectors have been included. Just to name few of the sectors like agriculture sector, which is one of the largest employing sector in India, construction sector, automotive sector, apparel, food processing, healthcare, electronic, IT-enabled services, retail sector, travel and tourism, logistic, media and entertainment. Like this way, you will find that many such sectors have been identified, and currently there are 152 job roles. And these job roles are aligned with National Skill Qualification Framework. And based on National Occupation Standard, we are able to design the learning outcome-based curriculum for all these 152 job roles that we are all working on this. Interesting part is that now it is the first time there has been an active engagement with Sector Skill Council, which has been exclusively created by Government of India. We are having an engagement with the respective industries, academicians, leading experts in the field, so that whatever program we are trying to design, they are really demand driven and they are relevant with the changing time which the industries are taking about. In terms of number, I am also happy to tell you, that in the last 4 years, these vocational education programs are being offered by almost 11,000 schools in India. 27 states and union territories are currently offering vocational education program. And most importantly, as of today, 12 lakh students are taking the benefit of vocational education programs. आपने एक बात और कही थी employability के ऊपर. I'm very happy to tell you that we have totally redesigned the vocational education curriculum. In fact, it is the first time employability skill has been integrated as a part of vocational education in India. And under employability skill, we have added communication skill, ICT skill, that is digital literacy, self-management skill, entrepreneurial skills, and most importantly, green skills have also been included across the board. So you will see that every job role will have employability skill component along with the occupation specific or the sector specific job role. Accordingly, the content has been designed. And you will all be very happy to know that this initiative of introducing green skills have been recognized at international level very recently by European Training Foundation. And PSACIV has been awarded the Green Skill Award for 2021 for bringing green skills as an integral part of employability skill under vocationalization of school education. So these all efforts are basically to help our young student getting employment. Not only in getting employment, they can continue their further studies. Even many of them are becoming self-entrepreneurs or self-employed individuals. So that is also taking place in some part of our the studies that is we have seen across the India.
Yeah. Sir, rightly said that we need to train our workforce, especially in communication skills, behavioral skills, so that they can stand out. So my next question is pertaining to that, and I club this question, Archana from Chennai. So there remains a requirement for skilled professional in every industry. The supply for the same is hampered by a great high dropout rate at secondary level, poor quality of trainers, lack of flexibility and outdated infrastructure. So, how can we update on all these crucial points when we don't have the right set of teachers and the trainers? And the infrastructure is really poor if we talk about the rural area. Your views on this, sir?
I do agree with the observations. First of all, yes, there are growing instances of increasing numbers in terms of dropout at the secondary school level. This is a fact and we have to accept it. And more particularly, the numbers has gone up more particularly because of this COVID-19 pandemic. And because of that, particularly it has increased the number of dropouts at the secondary level and all that. So it has really impacted our goal of reducing the dropout at secondary level. But there is also need to look at how we can connect this dropout with skilling, with skill educations and all that. And I'm very happy to tell you that we have done some spread work and we have already developed a discussion paper, how we can connect this dropout with the skilling. How the existing infrastructure, how the existing school facilities can be used, even the second shift can be utilized for promoting the skilling component, particularly for the dropouts. So there is a lot to be done. And there are interesting stories, interesting development happening across the world where dropout has been taken care, and governments are very serious in utilizing this manpower. Connecting them with the skilling is already taking place. And I think India should take this lesson forward by connecting our dropouts with the skill educations and all that. Now, your second observation is also very important regarding the quality of the trainers. I think this is a very important, and rather I would say it is one of the major challenges. If you really want to improve the quality of vocational education, I think the role of teacher is very, very important. Particularly the quality and the trained teachers are very, very important. And I am very pleased to tell you that in this regard, we have developed recently vocational pedagogy framework exclusively for preparing the teachers who are working as a vocational teachers or trainers in different part of the country. So that framework is already available on our website. The purpose of creating this framework is basically to give idea to the SCRTs, to diets, to VTPs, that how they should train their trainers, how they should train their teachers, what are the essential modules they will have to integrate and prepare their teachers for quality vocational education. So that one initiative we have recently taken. I'm also pleased to tell you that we have designed one diploma program that is known as Diploma in Vocational Education and Training. It is a one-year diploma program. It is in distance come contact mode. And I'm very happy to tell you that already 2 batches of this course has already successfully completed, and now the new batch admissions are already in offline and we are all doing. The purpose is basically to create a resource pool, where the vocational programs, as we are going to expand it, these trained, qualified vocational trainers can really help the states in improving the quality of vocational education. And last but not the least, lack of flexibility and outdated infrastructure. Yes, we have the many part of the remote areas. I have found that the facilities are not up to the standard which is expected when we talk about the industry side when it comes to the skilling. And I think that is why, we really need to continuously invest on infrastructure, because without upgrading quality infrastructure, skill development cannot happen. And particularly we need to bring latest technology, including now use of ICT for delivering the teaching learning into the classroom. So all these things are very, very important. Now, regarding the flexibility and creating the pathways, I think you must have observed NEP strongly advocate this, that linking vocational education with higher education. And they want to create a pathway so all those vocational education graduates will have a vertical mobility when they go to the higher education programs, or they would like to continue their further education into the respective field and all that. So already Government of India is working on this one. Very soon there will be a higher education qualification framework will be developed, and each occupation, each vocation will be identified in more detail so that the vertical mobility can be ensured for these graduates. So these all things are happening and taking place. Last but not the least point I would like to add here is that considering this dropout rate, considering the quality of trainers, considering the infrastructural support available and all that, for the last 1.5 years, PSSCIV has given a special drive on digitalization of vocational education. And the very reason was that if we can create digital resources, if we create digital content, at least this will create interest among the students. Even all the students who are not able to attend the school can have access to quality digital contents and all that. So we have developed a lot of PowerPoint presentation, lot of video programs, animated programs, demonstrations of various skills which are involved in various sectors, various job roles, and all these videos have already been uploaded on our website. They are also available on our YouTube channel. Also very soon there will be a separate vertical on Diksha Diksha, the portal of Ministry of Education, and all our digital content will be very soon available across India through the Diksha portals also. There is a mobile app also we can use, which is known as e-Pathshala of NCERT, and you will find that all our resources, all our digital content can easily be accessed by our students, teachers, parents sitting at home, and try to bridge the gap with the trainers, with the infrastructure, with the quality of the instructions can be, to some extent, can be minimized by this way. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. So, we have talked about training and how we can just bridge the gap. So, Arif from Michli and Palak from Uttar Pradesh, Kanpur are asking, what are the government agencies which are providing skills development program, and how people can take advantage of these government skilled run program? Over to you, sir.
I think, there is not a single district which do not connected with Skill India Mission. Every district will have some way is having connection with Skill India Mission. And more particularly, the ambitious scheme of Pradhan Mantri Kaushalya Vikas Yojana, PMKYVY, is particularly, across the board it is available. So all our urban and rural youth can easily take the benefit of Pradhan Mantri Kaushalya Yojana, Vikas Yojana, for undertaking skill development program. Under this particular scheme, there are a number of avenues people can opt. One is on a short-term training program, as well as it can be a long-term training program. Now, as regard to short-term training, first thing I told you about Pradhan Mantri Kaushalya Vikas Yojana. Then Rozgar Melas are there. Pradhan Mantri Kaushalya Kendras are there, which are set up across the board, across the states, across the union territories, and the young people can take the benefit. Capacity building scheme are there. Udan, Sankalp, to name a few. Star, Polytechnic scheme is there. Then even international level also, like India International Skill Centers are there. Even free departure orientation program, which was initiated by NSDC, that is also trying to help us. Now, these are all short-term programs. But interestingly, we also have many long-term programs, like Craftsman Training Scheme, CTS, that is how we call it, or Crafts Instructor Training Scheme, CITS, Apprenticeship Training under the Apprenticeship Act of 1961, Advanced Vocational Training Scheme, AVTS. Vocational training programs exclusively for women are also available. Even Strive is there. Even there are special initiatives for Northeast region, including Strive is there. Then dual training systems are there. Particularly for entrepreneurships, there is also Pradhan Mantri Yuva Yojana is there. Indian Institute of Skill is there. Sankalp is there. Aspirational District Program is there. Swachh Bharat Mission Abhiyan is there. Technology initiatives are there. So what I'm trying to say that, there are a range of programs which are already available. And there are, every ministry, every department is connected with Skill India Mission. And I sincerely appeal through you is that we must encourage our students. We must encourage our youth who are nearby us to take the benefit of this particular scheme and make themselves employable, get themselves ready for the future that they are looking at it.
Thank you very much, sir. So, many viewers are asking this question. So I would like to take this question first and come to the second one. Shubham Datta is asking, what is the scope of internship during the vocational education at school level? And how do you think that what kind of collaborations are needed to make initiative to partner with private players, which is very, very important for the industry to bridge this huge gap, is the skill gap?
I think this is a very important question to me. Because if you look at the existing way we are looking at vocationalization of school education, looking to the number of hours which are made, dedicatedly made available for vocational education program, so that apparently there is a very limited opportunity for internship for the students for undergoing when they are undergoing the vocational education program. But with the recent amendment in the Apprenticeship Act, which provides new avenues for vocational teachers to undergo practical training in the industry, which was not there earlier. So this has created a new avenues for the student who would like to be interested to undergo hands-on training, practical training. So Apprenticeship Act provides that avenues for this. And particularly I feel that still there is not awareness about these new changes in the Apprenticeship Act. And I believe that we really need to create a mass awareness so that the students are made aware, parents are made aware about it, and they can take the use of this particular opportunity, which is not yet fully utilized in India. So this is one way we can do about it. And this concern is also very well addressed by the National Education Policy 2020. In order to promote what you rightly said is that it encouraged partnership for creating training opportunity for the students training, including internship avenues at the local level. So how we can do it? I think the first thing what is required is we need to create a support structure. We need to grant more autonomy to the schools. It should not be top-down approach. So that's why more autonomy is required for a long-term partnership with the local, ITIs are there, polytechnics are there, hospitals are there, educational institutions are there. And how we can do it? There is a need to have a formal agreement, and we can create that structure where a formal MOU is signed by the state board or by the local institutions with the local industries or local bodies. And this will help the people, particularly for the schools, to arrange the visit, arrange the practical training, arrange the exposure visit for the student from time to time. And there are encouraging examples in India where many schools have taken initiative for bringing industry to the school and schools to the industry. And this is definitely going to happen, more particularly when we have a strong emphasis by the National Education Policy 2020. And I am very hopeful in the coming days, we will see a big change that schools and industries, there is a good linkages, good partnership is going to take place in a very constructive way. And that is how I see it likely.
Yeah, yes, sir. We also hope the same, that there should be a good partnership, a strong partnership between the industry and the Skill Development Institute, so that the students get the employability as soon as possible. So my next question is just pertaining to that. And that question has come from one of the participants. He hasn't mentioned his name. He says, what are the main challenges which become roadblock to quality skills training, which you have recently highlighted? And he is also asking, I just want to take this question, what are the provisions to take vocational education training inclusion in education policy to remote areas, especially to the rural areas, so that it doesn't remain in the ambit of the urban people or under urban area? Over to you, sir.
I think, there are challenges looking to our diversity across the board. So there are challenges, and more particularly when we talk about the roadblocks in our effort. First challenge I highlighted and you also mentioned is the absence of quality and trained vocational teachers. Particularly this is happening in the rural places. We do not have, well-paid vocational teachers, well-qualified teachers, well-trained teachers. So this is also hampering this one. Second important issue that you also highlighted was the state-of-art skill training infrastructure. That is missing in most part of the school. And I think we need to invest, and when this partnership will start taking place, probably this can improve. The third challenge I believe is a major roadblock in many part of the places is lack of linkages with the industries. And this is seriously impacting the quality of skilling, quality of vocational education program being offered. So that is where we have to do it. Now, particularly when we talk about a new age technologies are level, and particularly this pandemic is there, use of ICT is very, very important. And that's why availability of ICT infrastructure is also equally important It is not only for the skill training infrastructure we have to look at it, but holistically, including ICT infrastructure, bandwidth, latest computers, all those gadgets and facilities for training are equally important that we need to ensure and all that one. Now the question comes, how we can do it.
Yes.
How we can do it.
Yeah.
And there are a number of ways we can think about it. The first reason to realize all these things, to my mind, is that please understand India is a very diverse country. So one size do not fit all is also applicable here. So what will be applicable in Northeast region may not be applicable in Western region. What will be applicable in Kerala, for example, may not be suitable in Chandigarh. So we need a customized or a contextualized model or approach for when we are trying to address the implementation initiatives when it comes to vocational education under national education policy. This is very important. So in order to realize this, one of the advocacy I can suggest is that let us create a special task group who can really plan, who can visualize how they are going to implement in the specific state that they are going to implement the national education policy. The second step I would strongly advocate is plan and organize a series of awareness programs across the state, across the union territories, more particularly for all the stakeholders. Because industries have to be on the board. All the stakeholder has to be aligned with the visualization of national education policy. And that's why it is very, very important. Parents, teachers, students, industry bodies, industry associations, local communities, all will have to be aligned with the expectations from this education policy. And that's why we have to strongly use the social media, use of ICT, more particularly for image building of vocational education. As the national education policy also highlighted that we still consider vocational education as inferior education compared to the mainstream education. So by using all this media, it will help us to improve the image of the vocational education in the country. I think another suggestion I would have is that creating the setting up of skill laboratories for a cluster schools can be one of the way we can talk about it. Then, we have a very ambitious target of 50% learners to be realized or connected with vocational education. So there is a need to identify schools which are nearby the industry bodies, nearby the industry sectors and all that one, so that it will become much more easy for them to offer the programs. And for that, we need to, identify such locations where the schools can be offering the vocational education program. Use of ICT will be very, very important. And last but not the least, we need a proper monitoring mechanism. That whatever we are planning, whatever we are visualizing, whether it is really happening on the ground or not. So at a state level, there should be, or even at a district level, there should be a proper monitoring mechanism. And most importantly, this will be successful only when these vocational courses, which have been identified, are mapped with the local needs, with the local expectations and local requirement of the industry. If we can do this, then I think whatever effort, whatever initiatives we are trying to plan through this vocational education can really help us to give the benefit to our people, to our students more particularly.
Beautifully explained, sir, that monitoring is also needed. And if we can tap that talent at the ground level, that will give us more effect on this training. So my next question is, as you rightly said, India has a huge younger population. They are vibrant, they have full energy. Now they need synergy. So my question to you, how can we place or educate our youngsters about the bright, scintillating avenues inland and outbound, maybe in foreign country? Now we have programs just like GDA. We have healthcare program, we have manufacturing program. If 10th and 12th or even the graduate level students are trained on these parameters, I think they'll be very much employable inland and outbound. Over to you, sir.
I think this is a new, avenue which is getting created. If you see across the many developed part and the region, you will find that there is always a growing demand for skilled workers. And you will find that many Indians are venturing out, like Middle East and all that, including Philippines, including US, UK, Canada. Many countries are there where I think there is hardly any location where you will not find Indian workforce. So because of skill, they are getting recognized and all that. Now, in order to promote the advocacy, to ensure that our people are at par with the international standards, we need to do something. And I'm very happy to tell you that the new national education policy also envisages this one. And they want that our Indian standard should be aligned with international standard classification of occupations, which is maintained by the ILO. So our standards and ILO standards, the occupation standards, and the way we are classifying the job role, if they matches, then it become much more easy for the regional mobility for the workforce. And with these standards and with the right kind of scaling, I think this will create a new avenues, a new prospect and opportunity for our students to undergo overseas for employment or for a long-term career prospect and all that. Interestingly, under the Skill India mission, there are two more important initiatives which Government of India has already taken. The first one is India International Skill Centers are being also created. And these are exclusively targeted for those audience, particularly for those youth who would like to go for the overseas employment. And so accordingly, their training and everything has been conducted by Government of India. And second, which is I have seen myself, is the pre-departure orientation program. We call it as PDOT. And this is exclusively for the young population who are going to go for the overseas employment for the first time. And Government of India under the Skill India mission is creating the orientation program exclusively designed for these people. और इसमें वो सब बातें बताई जाती है कि आपको क्या क्या तैयारी करनी है, कैसे तैयार करना है अपने आप को, वहाँ के सोशल नॉर्म्स कैसे फॉलो करने हैं, सोशल एटिकेट्स आपको कैसे रखने हैं, अपने बारे आपका अपना ख्याल कैसे रखना है, इन केस ऑफ इमरजेंसी आपको किसको कांटेक्ट करना है, पासपोर्ट अगर आपका मिस हो जाए तो आपको किसको पहले फोन करना है वगैरह, है ना। और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि यू आर रिप्रेजेंटिंग इंडिया देयर, तो आपका काम करने का तरीका, आपका बोलचाल की भाषा, आपका रहन सहन, ये सब इंडिया के ऊपर रिफ्लेक्ट करता है। तो ये जो प्री डिपार्चर ओरिएंटेशन प्रोग्राम है, इनमें वो तमाम बातें बताई जाती है ताकि जो भी यूथ है पर्टिकुलरली ओवरसीज के लिए फर्स्ट टाइम जा रहा है, इवन हाउ टू हैंडल द मनी, how to transfer the money to your father, to your family, what are the things you need to take care, how to open the bank account, what are the simple steps he or she can do it. So ये देखिए, these are all basically helping the people to prepare themselves mentally, so that they can take. So one side is the skill, that is also very important, but at the same time initiatives like this also helping students to build their confidence for taking up overseas assignments in the coming future.
Sir, Rajesh sir, thank you very, very much. We are just running short of time and I would like to stop here. This is a really insightful and informative session. So I request you to, if you could please share the key takeaways for our audience.
Yeah. First of all, this is for the first time there has been a renewed thrust on vocational education. Please understand this. And more particularly under the new National Education Policy 2020, it has given a new impetus by saying reimagining vocational education. Now, there is a no hard separation between general education and vocational education. Rather, there is an integration of vocational education in general education. There are vertical linkages now getting created for higher education. So you will see that there is a sea change we are going to see in the vocational education. But at the same time, we also need to work together on few of the areas. more particularly, I will say that how to make aspirational vocational education more particularly for our youth. This is one of the pressing challenge, and we all have to collectively work together. Second thing is, this vocational education has to be a demand-driven program. So how we are going to ensure that whatever vocational education courses we are going to plan, we are going to design, we are going to introduce are really industry-driven, industry demand-driven. So this is the first. Another second thing we need to do. The third important concern I would say strongly here is that we need to ensure access to quality vocational education, which is also inclusive for our society and as well as for our youth. That is very important. Last but not the least, I would say 3T are going to play a very vital role in realizing that what we are trying to reimagine through vocational education. So the first T is teachers. Teachers are the central, focus of realizing what we are trying to achieve through this vocational education. So their preparation is very, very important. Their service conditions are very important. Ensuring their professional development is very, very important. So until and unless teachers are, motivated, teachers are not well prepared, they are not well trained, so nothing is going to happen. The second T I would say is training, because it is a skill education, and until and unless there is a training is involved, hands-on training, practical training is not involved, nothing is going to realize. And because transfer of skills are taking place, and that's why training is a second T, which is very, very important. And this is also applicable for the teachers. So continuous professional development, continuous reskilling, upskilling of teachers is also very, very important, not only to the students. Last but not the least is the technology. We have to use the latest technology which is available for all of us and all that one. And if you can bring these three T, that is teachers, training and technology, I'm very sure we will be able to realize the reimagined vocational education for the beautiful and prosperous India.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very, very much to bringing these three T's. These are very, very important for the economy and the country. Sir, there are many laurels which are coming on. Nighat is saying that thank you very, very much for this wonderful informative session. And Praveen is also saying very good that we have brought a very eminent speaker on the show. Please make aware and log in and watch many good programs there. Rajesh sir, at the last, I would like to say million thanks for your kind presence on the channel. We are really indebted to you for your time.
Thank you. It was my pleasure also to have and to connect with all of you. My last, can I take one minute?
Please, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
This platform is also in a way to help people to understand why vocational education is so important. And one very important initiative that I feel is of some interest to every one of us is that pre-vocational education. So National Education Policy advocate introducing pre-vocational education from classes 6 to 8. So as you said about internship opportunity for the student, and I believe that the students are going to get the first opportunity of internship. Though we call it as an informal internship, so they are going to have a 10 bagless day of informal internship by connecting with the local industry, local artisan, craftsman, so that they understand what is the value of skills, what are the things people do for the occupations, what are the different occupations, and what people really do for living, and how he or she can cultivate the skills for making their career in an identified occupations or vocation. So I strongly feel pre-vocational education is going to be a game changer in changing our attitude, changing our mindset toward vocational education. When the children, when they will get exposed to variety of occupations, variety of vocations, and when they will share these learning experiences with the parents, I am very sure parents' attitude, parents' thinking towards vocational is going to drastically change, and they will give the prominence to the vocational education. So, there are many ambitious targets and other, but my feeling is that let's have an optimistic outlook. Let's have a positive thinking towards our effort. And with effective leadership, with healthy accountability, and with the synergizing of our effort, I'm sure we can really create the kind of infrastructure, the kind of environment which is really required for the vocational education. Thank you, each one of you. Thank you, TCS. Thank you, Naresh, for hosting such a wonderful webinar. I'm so happy to be part of this event. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very, very much, sir. It's our pleasure. With this note, I, Naresh Pal, along with Rajesh sir, sign off. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.